Book 14 The Loyal Swineherd. So up from the haven now Odysseus climbed a rugged path through timber along high ground. Athena had shown the way to reach the swineherd's place, that fine loyal man who of all the household hands Odysseus ever had cared the most for his master's worldly goods. Sitting at the door of his lodge he found him, there in his farmstead, high-walled, broad and large, with this long view on its cleared rise of ground. The swineherd made those walls with his own hands to enclose the pigs of his master gone for years. Alone, apart from his queen or old Laertes, he'd built them up of quarried blocks of stone and coped them well with a fence of wild pear. Outside he'd driven stakes in a long-line stockade, a ring of thicket palings, split from an oak's stark heart. Within the yard he'd built 12 sites, side by side, to bed with his pigs, and in each one 50 brood sows slept aground, penned and kept for breeding. The boars slept outside, but far fewer of them, thanks to the lordly suitors' feasts that kept on thinning the herd and kept the swineherd stepping, sending to town each day the best fat hog in sight. By now they were down to 360 head, but guarding them all the time were dogs like savage beasts, a pack of 4, reared by the swineherd, 4 men of men. The man himself was fitting sandals to his feet, carving away at an ox-hide, dark and supple. As for his men, 3 were off with their pigs, herding them here or there. Under orders he sent a 4th to town, with hog in tow for the gorging suitors to slaughter off and glut themselves with pork. Those snarling dogs spotted Odysseus, charged him fast, a shatter of barks, but Odysseus sank to the ground at once. He knew the trick. The staff dropped from his hand, but here and now, on his own farm, he might have taken a shameful mauling. Yes, but the swineherd, quick to move, dashed for the gate, flinging his ox-hide down, rushed the dogs with curses, scattered left and right with flying rocks, and warned his master, "Lucky to be alive, old man. A moment more, my pack would have torn you limb from limb. Then you'd have covered me with shame, as if the gods had ever given me blows and groans aplenty. Here I sit, my heart racing, broken for him, my master, my great king, fattening up his own hogs for other men to eat, while he, starving for food, I wager, wanders the earth, beggar adrift in strangers' cities, foreign-speaking lands, if he's still alive, that is, still sees the rising sun. Come, follow me into my place, old man, so you, at least, can eat your fill of bread and wine. Then you can tell me where you're from and all the pains you've weathered." On that note, the loyal swineherd led the way to his shelter, showed his guest inside, and sat Odysseus down on brush and twigs as he piled up for the visitor, flinging over these the skin of a shaggy wild goat, broad and soft, the swineherd's own good bedding. The king, delighted to be so well received, thanked the man at once. "My host, may Zeus and the other gods give you your heart's desire for the royal welcome you have shown me here." And you replied, "Eumaeus, loyal swineherd, it's wrong, my friend, to send any stranger packing, even one who arrives in worse shape than you. Every stranger and beggar comes from Zeus, and whatever scrap they get from the likes of us, they'll find it welcome. That's the best we can do, we servants, always cowed by our high and mighty masters, especially our young lords. But my old king? The gods, they must have blocked his journey home. He'd have treated me well, he would, with a house, a plot of land, and a wife you'd gladly prize. Goods that a kind lord will give a household hand who labors for him, hard, whose work the gods have sped, just as they speed the work I labor at all day. My master, I tell you, would have repaid me well if he'd grown old right here, but now he's dead. If only Helen and all her kind had died out too, brought to her knees, just as she cut the legs from under troops of men. My king among them, he went off to the stallion land of Troy to fight the Trojans, save Agamemnon's honor. He brusquely cinched his belt around his shirt, strode out to the pens, crammed with droves of pigs, picked out, too, bundled them in and slaughtered both, singed them, sliced them down, skewered them through and roasting all to a turn, set them before Odysseus, sizzling hot on the spits. Then coating the meat with white barley groats and mixing honeyed wine in a carved wooden bowl, he sat down across from his guest, inviting warmly. Eat up now, my friend. It's all we slaves have got. Scrawny pork, while the suitors eat the fatted hogs. No fear of the gods in their hard hearts, no mercy. Trust me, the blessed gods have no love for crime. They honor justice, honor the decent acts of men, even cutthroat bandits who raid foreign parts. And Zeus grants them a healthy share of plunder, ships filled to the brim, and back they head for home. Even their dark hearts are stalked by the dread of vengeance. But the suitors know. They've caught some God-sent rumor of Master's grisly death. That's why they have no mind to do their courting fairly or go back home in peace. No, at their royal ease they devour all his goods. Those brazen rascals never spare a scrap. Not a day or a night goes by, sent down by Zeus, but they butcher victims, never stopping at one or two, and drain his wine as if there's no tomorrow, swelling the last drop. Believe me, my master's wealth was vast. No other prince on earth could match his riches, not on the loamy mainland or here at home in Ithaca. No 20 men in the world could equal his great treasures. Let me count them off for you. A dozen herds of cattle back on the mainland, just as many heads of sheep, as many droves of pigs and goat flocks ranging free. Hired hands or his own herdsmen keep them grazing there. Here in Ithaca, goat flocks, 11 in all, scatter to graze the island, out at the wild end, and trusty goat herds watch their every move. And each herdsman, day after day, it never ends, drives in a beast for the suitors. Best in sight, a sheep or well-fed goat. Leaving a broken heart for loved ones left behind, for me most of all. Never another master kind as he. I'll never find one, no matter where I go, not even if I went back to mother and father, the house where I was born and my parents who reared me once. Ah, but much as I grieve for them, much as I long to lay my eyes on them, set foot on the old soil, it's longing for him that wrings my heart, Odysseus, long and gone. That man, old friend, far away as he is, I can scarcely bear to say his name aloud. So deeply he loved me, cared for me, so deeply. Worlds away as he is, I call him master, brother. My friend, the great Odysseus, long in exile, answered. Since you are dead certain, since you still insist he is never coming back, still the soul of denial, I won't simply say it. On my oath, I swear, Odysseus is on his way. Reward for such good news? Let me have it the moment he sets foot in his own house. Dress me in shirt and cloak, in handsome clothes. Before then, poor as I am, I wouldn't take a thing. I hate that man like the very gates of death who, ground down by poverty, stoops to peddling lies. I swear by Zeus, the first and all of the gods, by this table of hospitality here, my host, by Odysseus' hearth, where I have come for help, all will come to pass, I swear, exactly as I say. True, this very month, just as the old moon dies and the new moon rises into life, Odysseus will return. He will come home and take revenge on any man who offends his wedded wife and princely son. Good news, you replied, Eumaeus, loyal swineherd, but I will never pay a reward like that, old friend. Odysseus, he'll never come back home again. Never. Drink your wine, sir. Sit back. Let's talk of other things. Don't remind me of all this. The heart inside me breaks whenever anyone mentions my dear master. That oath of yours, we'll let it pass. Odysseus, oh, come back. Just as I wish, I and Penelope, old Laertes too, Telemachus too, the godlike boy. How I grieve for him now. I can't stop. Odysseus' son, Telemachus. The gods reared him up like a fine young tree, and I often said, in the ranks of men he'll match his father, his own dear father. Amazing in build and looks, that boy. But all of a sudden a god wrecks his sense of balance. God or man, no matter. Off he's gone to catch some news of his father, down to holy Plios. And now those gallant suitors lie in wait for him, sailing home to tear the royal line of Arceus out of Ithaca, root and branch, good name and all. Enough. Let him pass too. Whether he's trapped or the hand of Zeus will pull him through alive. Come, old soldier, tell me the story of your troubles. Tell me truly, too. I'd like to know it well. Who are you? Where are you from? Your city? Your parents? What sort of vessel brought you? Why did the sailors land you here in Ithaca? Who did they say they are? I hardly think you came this way on foot. The great teller of tales returned at length. My story, the whole truth. I'm glad to tell it all. If only the two of us had food and mellow wine to last us long, here in your shelter now, for us to sup on, undisturbed, while others take the work of the world in hand, I can easily spend all year and never reach the end of my endless story. All the heartbreaking trials I struggled through, the gods willed it so. I hail from Crete's broad land, I'm proud to say, and I am a rich man's son. And many other sons he brought up in his palace, born in wedlock, sprung of his lawful wife. Unlike my mother, she was a slave, a concubine he purchased. Yes, but he treated me on a par with all his true-born sons, Castor, Hylax's son. I'm proud to boast his blood, that man revered like a god throughout all Crete those days, for wealth, power, and all his glorious offspring. But the deadly spirits soon swept him down to the house of death, and his high and mighty sons carved up his lands and then cast lots for the parts and gave me just a pittance, a paltry house as well. But I won myself a wife from wealthy landed people, thanks to my own strong points. I was no fool, and never shirked a fight. But now my heyday's gone. I've had my share of blows. Yet look hard at the husk, and you'll still see, I think, the grain that gave it life. By heaven, Ares gave me courage, Athena too, to break the ranks of men wide open, once in the old days, whenever I picked my troops and formed an ambush, plotting attacks to spring against our foes. No hint of death could daunt my fighting spirit. Far out the front I'd charge and spear my man. I'd cut down an enemy soldier backing off. Such was I in battle, true, but I had no love for the working land, and chores of households either. The labor that raises crops of shining children. No, it was always oar-swept ships that thrilled my heart, and wars, the long polished spears and arrows, dreadful gear that makes the next man cringe. I love them all. God planted that love inside me. Each man delights in the work that suits him best. Why, long before we Achaeans ever camped at Troy, 9 commands I led in our deep sea-going ships, raiding foreign men, and a fine haul reached my hands. I helped myself to the lion's share, and still more spoils came by a lot. And my house grew by leaps and bounds. I walked among the Cretans, honored, feared as well. A foul night came on, the dark of the moon, and Zeus reigned from dusk to dawn with the sudden west wind ranged. Odysseus spoke up now, keen to test the swineherd. Would he take his cloak off, hand it to the guest, or at least tell one of his men to do the same? He cared for the stranger so, who ventured now. Listen, Eumaeus, and all you comrades here, allow me to sing my praise for a moment. Say it's the wine that leads me on, the wild wine that sets the wisest man to sing at the top of his lungs. laugh like a fool. It drives a man to dancing. It even tempts him to blurt out stories better never told. But now that I'm sounding off, I can't hold back. It'll make me young again, and the strength inside me steady as a rock. Just as I was that day, we sprang a sudden ambush against the Trojans. Odysseus led the raid with Atreus' son Menelaus. I was third in command. They'd chosen me themselves. Once we'd edged up under the city's steep ramparts, crowding the walls but sinking into their thick brake. The reeds and marshy flats, huddling under our armor, there we lay. And a foul night came on. The north wind struck, freezing cold, and down from the skies the snow fell like frost, packed hard, the rims of our shields armored round with ice. There all the rest of the men wore shirts and cloaks, and hunching shields over their shoulders, slept at ease. Not one I left my cloak at camp when I set out. Idiot, never thinking it might turn cold, so I joined in with the shield on my back and a shining waistguard. But then at last, the night's third watch, the stars just wheeling down, I muttered into his ear, Odysseus, right beside me, nudging him with an elbow. He perked up at once. Royal son of Laertes, Odysseus, full of tactics. I'm not long for the living. The cold will do me in. See, I've got no cloak. Some spirits fooled me. I came out half-dressed. Now there's no escape. I hadn't finished. A thought flashed in his mind. No one could touch the man at plots or battles. Shh, he hissed back. Odysseus had a plan. One of our fighters over there might hear you. Then he propped his head on his forearm, calling out, Friends, wake up. I slept and a god sent down a dream. It warned that we're too far from the ships, exposed. Go, someone tell Agamemnon, our field marshal. He might rush reinforcements from the beach. Thoas, son of Adrimnon, sprang up at once, flung off his purple cloak and ran to the ships while I, bundling into his wrap, was glad at heart until dawn rose on her golden throne once more. It will make me young again, and the strength inside me steady as a rock. One of the swineherds would lend a rap for love of a good soldier, respect as well. Now they spurn me, dressed in filthy rags. And you replied, Eumaeus, loyal swineherd, now that was a fine yard you told, old-timer. Not without point, not without profit, either. You won't want for clothes or whatever else is due a worn-out traveler come for help. Not for tonight, at least. Tomorrow morning you'll have to flap around in rags again. Here we've got no store of shirts and cloaks, no changes. Just one wrap per man, that's all. But just you wait till Odysseus' dear son come back. That boy will deck you out in a cloak and shirt and send you off wherever your heart desires. With that he rose to his feet and laid out a bed by the fire, throwing over it skins of sheep and goats, and down Odysseus lay. Eumaeus flung on his guest the heavy flaring cloak he kept in reserve to wear when winter brought some wild storm. So here Odysseus slept, and the young hands slept beside him. Not the swineherd. Not his style to bed indoors apart from his pigs. He geared up to go outside and warmed Odysseus' heart. Eumaeus cared so much for his absent master's goods. First, over his broad shoulders he slung a whetted sword, wrapped himself in a cloak stitched tight to block the wind, and adding a cape, the pelt of a shaggy, well-fed goat. He took a sharp glance to fight off men and dogs. Then out he went to sleep, where his white-tusked boars had settled down for the night, just under a jutting crag that broke the north wind's blast.